thank you guys for being here. I joked with the last group. I don't know that you had a choice, but I appreciate you showing up anyway. As Ms. Wright said, my name is Hannah Peck, and I'm the Associate Director of Admissions at Lindsey Wilson. But today, I'm here if you have questions about Lindsey, and we can talk about that at any point in time. But what I'm here today to talk to you guys about is just sort of what to expect, what you can be doing now, and what to expect in the next year for the college process, and what you can do to kind of better yourself as a prospective college student, okay? So who has some ideas about, maybe by show of hands, who has some schools that they're interested in, colleges that you think you're going to check out next year? Okay, she raised her hand, but no one else did, so she got embarrassed. Okay, so, yeah, you can just, no, I won't call on you. Maybe not. I'm just kidding. Just who has colleges in mind? Show of hands, okay? Do you have 5 or more that you're looking at? Raise your hand if you have 5 or more schools you think you're interested in. Okay, good. Gold star to you. Here. Ha ha ha. You're welcome. Sorry. Okay, awesome. Who has 3 or more? Okay, and at least one. At least one you're interested in. Good, 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 good. The reason I give her those fancy shades that she's so coolly wearing now is because that's something we're going to talk about today, like kind of keeping those options open, how to source the schools out there, to see what they offer, to see what school may be a best fit for you. So first we're going to kind of look through these items here together, and then we'll talk about sort of the admissions process in a nutshell, and then we'll specifically talk about you guys and what you can do to sort of, like I said, be a professional prospective college student. So it's important to remember there's a lot of colleges out there. So we're in a smaller group, so maybe you guys won't be as shy as the last group. Who knows what kind, like there's a couple different kinds of colleges. Might you all know what I mean when I say that? It's on the first slide.
Private school.
Yeah, private school's one. Yeah. Anybody, just shout it out.
Technical or community?
Yes. So like HCEC-TV, right, is a technical and community college run by the state of Kentucky. And then, does anybody know like what's the difference in like a, and then we have the final one, nobody said yet, but public schools. So does anybody know what the difference in those 3 may be? Money, yeah. You may think so, and we'll talk about that too. Okay, so like at a technical or community college, do you know how many years you traditionally go to one of those schools? 2, yeah, they only offer associate's degrees or technical programs, so 2-year programs. Public and private schools, usually 4. Public schools receive like subsidy and support from the federal and the state government, while private schools are self-funded, okay? And they may be a not-for-profit organization, so basically what they garner in tuition goes back into the school, and the cycle just repeats itself, okay? So what are some things that you may consider when you're looking at different colleges? Yeah.
Location.
Yeah, location may be important to you. Also, it can be something that's on one of my slides. Obviously, we've got a couple on here, but maybe it's something unique to you guys. What are the things that you may specifically be looking at? Yep, definitely. Yeah.
What you want to do as a career?
Yeah, career goals is a good one. What else? Do you all have something in particular you're interested in that you definitely want to see at your future college home? Anybody? Maybe you want to play a sport. Maybe you're going to be involved in Greek life or extracurricular opportunities. You definitely want to study abroad. You want to make sure you can do an internship. Like, again, this isn't for everybody, but maybe that's for you. The scholarships we talked about, the size of the school, the class size. Maybe you're cool being in a class of 200 people, but maybe that freaks you out and you want to be in a smaller class. So those are some considerations there as well. Also, I call this one the cheesy one, but the atmosphere or the personal fit, that's hard. That's sort of the intangible element. when you go on the campus tour, which school gives you the warm fuzzies, where you can see yourself as a student, where you think you'll be successful, that sort of thing. So those are some things to consider. So what's your name, girl in the shades? Kendall, okay. So I gave Kendall the glasses. She's looking at over 5 schools. Woohoo! She's a little bit ahead of the curve there. I encourage you guys to not limit yourself. I have a lot of students who say, my grandmother went here, my dad went there, so I'm going there too, and it's the only school I'm going to look at all year. Well, that's a problem because things may not go the way that you think. And you may be limiting yourself in either educational opportunities or financial opportunity. So my advice to college-bound students is to keep your options open. Hey, you can still have your number 1 school. You can still have your number 2. But still check out some of the other great colleges that we have, even within our state. All right, so on the next page, you'll see, where do I even start? So how do you start thinking about what schools that you may even want to attend? Well, there are 8 public colleges in the state of Kentucky, 33 private colleges. So private colleges would be like where I work, like Lindsey Wilson College, Georgetown, University of Cumberland, okay, Bellarmine, those are some private colleges. And then the 16 community colleges scattered in each region of the state. So do your homework. Visit your website. So we've talked about some of the considerations. Now we want to find schools that fall within our scope of interest. So if we want to go to medical school, what might some majors be that we would be looking at to make sure a school has? Do you all know? Maybe like biology, chemistry, mathematics. I told the last group, and this is something I tell a lot of students too, is that I also want you to think towards your career goals, not necessarily that I want to major in X. Think about what your actual career goal is, because there's actually several paths that lead to a career goal. The path is not always linear. It's not always point A to point B always equals C in your major. So I often give an example that at our school, we have an excellent major in human services and counseling, and we have a major in psychology. You can do a lot of those with those majors, but something that people are very interested in is working in the social work field. So I've worked with students before who said, well, I can't go to Lindsey Wilson because you guys don't offer social work. So maybe they look at the majors listed here, and they don't see social work on there. And they'd be right, we don't offer social work. But you can still be a social worker by majoring in psychology or human services and counseling. Does that sort of make sense what I'm saying? There's a lot of paths to whatever your career may be. Some kids can throw out some really funky names of majors that I don't know where they've heard of them at, and then they look at your list, you're like, well, you don't have something calisthenics forensics, so I can't go there. And I don't even know what they're talking about. So I usually say, well, what is it that you want to do? And then when we have that conversation, I call it working backwards. We look at the big idea of what we want to do, and then we work backwards to think, well, what sort of paths would get us to there? So that's part of your research. Then you can have an idea of what majors you are looking for at schools and the opportunities. So check out the schools in our state, check out their websites, and as much as you may not be excited about this, I have on here also to read the emails and the mail that you receive from the colleges. I know it will be a lot over the next year. I don't know if you all follow any of those things online that are like college mail, like their social media accounts, and it shows people like making a bonfire of all their like college mail, or like writing out words with all the postcards they receive. You'll get a lot. But the reason we send that to you is not just to bombard you. There is information in that, and that's what we encourage you to utilize. So throughout the course of the year, if you're able to, request information, if you go to a college fair. If you were like me in high school, I never wanted to make eye contact with a college representative if they were at my school, because that felt too committal for me. I didn't know what I wanted to do as a junior and senior, so I thought that even talking to them was too much of a commitment. So I would walk through the cafeteria like this if they were doing a lunch visit, keep my head down. At a college fair, I just kind of walked around the perimeter, and I was a high-achieving student like you all. I was taking dual credit classes. I'd gone to Governor's Scholar, but I was like, oh my gosh, there are so many choices out here, I don't know what to do. But I had not done my research, okay? And in 2008, however many years ago that was, there was a lot less push for the students in high school on how to be prepared for college and like what you needed to be doing. So I'm glad you all get to hear some of these things. Aren't you glad? Yes, thank you, thumbs up. So anyway, so you want to talk with current students. Maybe there's somebody from Hardin County you know that's gone to one of the schools you're interested in. Or maybe you'd ask somebody, hey, what schools were you actually looking at? Maybe not where they ended up, but hey, you know where they went. A lot of times I've talked to students who said, I ended up here, and while I like my school, you know what I also really liked? X, Y, and Z school. You should check those out too. So, because that might be a good school for you. There are no bad schools. Just every school is not the right fit for every person because every person is different, okay? So meet with college representatives, attend college fairs. So when you guys, hopefully, maybe the coronavirus won't exist next year. I don't know, we'll see. Getting less and less optimistic with each passing year. But we'll have the college fair here at the school. It's after school, so make sure you come. It's a great resource. That's how you get the most accurate information. I want you to talk to other people, but things change from year to year. Scholarships increase, things like that happen. So create a list of schools at this point that are some of your top considerations, over the next, in the summer perhaps, before your senior year. That way when you get into August of your senior year, you don't feel like you're scrambling, because working on college stuff is not the only thing you'll have to worry about during your senior year. You'll be in classes, athletics, sports, clubs. You'll be worrying about a whole host of things. So help yourself now by doing some of the legwork so that you're kind of just ready to start exploring in person come the fall semester. And then you can actually visit campus, which we'll talk more about what a campus visit looks like. But visiting campus is the best way to evaluate those warm fuzzies that I talked about. The personal fit and feel, to actually get to talk to a student that goes to that university. So they'll be able to tell you actually what the student experience there is like. You'll actually get to speak oftentimes with an admissions representative, so you can make sure you get the most up-to-date and current information. And that's how about 75% of students actually base their college decision off of their campus visit. That's how important the visit is. That's why I always get very upset when it's a rainy, gross day outside, because I'm like, oh great, somebody's not going to choose today because it rained. Now, something that's pretty obvious over the year is you'll make yourself aware of applications and deadlines. That's why when you know of the schools that you're interested in, then you can actually use your fall semester to see what scholarships am I going to apply for? Are there deadlines I need to keep in mind? Is there an additional scholarship application? Am I going to apply for like a top tier scholarship? If so, those application deadlines are usually in November and December of your senior year. So that gives you a limited period of time if you've waited till like September to kind of get started in your college search, all right? Some other buzzwords to just keep in mind throughout this process are test optional. Has anybody heard of test optional? You have any idea what that is? Okay. She raised her hand again. She raised her hand again. I really only have sunglasses, so I can't just keep throwing them at you. Test optional means it's ACT or SAT optional, okay? Now, the unfortunate part of this is every school's test optional process is different. A lot of the schools in the state of Kentucky currently are test optional, although sometimes it can be they usually often use that for admissions purposes. You guys are a high-achieving group, so it would oftentimes be in your better interest to possibly submit an SAT or ACT score. Talk with the admissions counselor at that institution to see what is most in your benefit scholarship-wise, because unfortunately every school's a little different. So I can just basically tell you it exists, but not how every school operates with that. We talked about scholarships and deadlines, and then your senior year you'll also work on your FAFSA. That's your basically your building block for all of your financial aid. But something to keep in mind is that a lot of students don't realize this. You're really rared to go in the fall semester and you think, okay, well, I'm going to make my decision in the fall. And that's why I say to keep a lot of schools on your radar, because you really do your kind of college exploration through the fall, and you're not going to know actually the price to attend any of the schools exactly until the spring semester, okay? You'll do your what's called the FAFSA in the fall, which is your building block of financial aid. You'll share that information with the schools that you may be interested in. It does not obligate you in any way, but they won't tell you the cost until the spring. Usually private colleges will send you the cost January and February. A public school, so like UK, Western, whatever, you're probably going to be waiting until March or April, okay? So that's where you can kind of know. That's why you want to keep other schools on your radar, because I've seen students, or I've worked with students in the past who maybe were 100% dead set on where they were going, but when it got to be March or April, perhaps finances didn't work out the way that they thought they were going to, and they had sort of limited themselves and had the blinders on throughout the rest of the school year, and then they were left scrambling right at the end of their senior year, which is never any fun, okay? And they felt like they were sort of behind. So that's why you want to just keep your options open. Applying does not obligate you to attend a school at all. So if an application is free, I encourage you to do it. Like ours is free. A lot of the private schools are free. We encourage you to do those. If you qualify for a fee waiver, go ahead and complete the application. Like I said, it doesn't obligate you in any way. That's how I was as a senior. I didn't want to apply anywhere. I thought that I had to know before I applied. You do not have to know before you apply. Applying is honestly the best way for you to continue getting the most accurate information and for us to keep in touch with you. And to see what scholarships you actually qualify for, okay? So that's why we encourage you to apply, so you can just kind of keep it. Even if, like I said, it's not your number one, at least you've got something on the back burner to help you if you need to. And I always say, I've been doing this for over 10 years. I hear a lot of yeses, but I hear no's. So if you have to tell me no, you're not going to hurt my feelings. It's just it's the way it is. Like I said, doesn't mean I think that you think my school is poop or whatever. You know, it's fine. I just know every school's not the right school for every person. So no hard feelings. That's why we want to be helpful to you. We want to have those conversations, and we want you to apply. Does anybody kind of have questions about any of this sort of stuff? On the back, you'll see it sort of says decisions, but that's where, you know, you've got all your financial aid. You can make an educated and informed decision because you kept your options open throughout the course of the school year. And then ultimately, once you've made your decision, following up and working with your admissions counselor throughout the rest of the year and staying on top of everything. Does anybody have questions about any of this sort of stuff? You all feel totally ready for your senior year? Crickets. Okay, thank you. Good.
Trying hard for sunglasses.
He's trying. Duly noted. Okay, I've noticed you, man. All right. So the second thing that I want to talk to you guys about is more about you and things that you can do and work on about yourself. So I want you to understand the college admissions process, sort of that timetable, but also what can you be doing in the meantime. And these are things that I've noticed over the last 10 years that I sometimes think that students really struggle with. And this is not a harp on technology. I obviously love technology. I spend my fair share on TikTok like everybody else does. Has anybody ever looked up how many videos they've actually watched on TikTok? Did you all know you can see that? Oh my God, don't look at it. You'll feel really bad about yourself. Anyway, but I do think because of some of these things, our ability to communicate has decreased because we don't have to talk to people in person a lot. But through the college admissions process, you will talk to people in person, you'll have to talk on the phone, you will have to text, you will have to email. And I really see a lot of students, even very bright students, struggle with this process. So some of this that we're going to talk about may seem pretty elementary, but I wouldn't bring it up if I did not see prospective college students making these mistakes every single day, okay? So even if you think it's elementary, maybe you'll accidentally start to do something next year, and then you'll think, oh, that girl that came to school that one day told us not to do this, so I'm not going to do it, all right? So without looking at the paper, look away. What are soft skills? Does anyone know what a soft skill is? And if you already looked at the paper, you can just tell me anyway. Anybody know? Soft skills? What are soft skills? Yeah.
Is it like listening?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So soft skills they are like listening, communication skills, your teamwork. So you'll see I've got a list of them here. Everybody has this paper. So leadership skills, teamwork, communication skills, problems. He got extra points. That's not even on here, listening skills, which it is a soft skill. Problem solving skills, work ethic, flexibility, interpersonal skills. There are soft skills beyond this one. These are some that I think are very prudent through the college admissions process. Some that really I think are top notch, if you even want to make a note, are communication skills, which we've been talking about, problem solving skills, and your interpersonal skills. Those are all things that you will heavily be utilizing through this college process, all right? And they sort of guide the next couple of things that I think these are my pro tips, okay, for you guys, that I see people flub on. I say they often make me giggle. So first would be email etiquette. Who in here thinks you're great at writing emails? Good, good. Okay, a couple of you, 2. Well, the rest of us, listen up, okay? So email etiquette is an important thing. It sounds very silly, but that's probably going to be one of, and I will say, I have done this for a long time, and a lot more students actually utilize their email than when I first started working in this job, which is a good thing. So it's becoming a primary form of communication with actual students where parents used to really utilize email more so. So email etiquette is important, and when I say email etiquette, I mean you should include a salutation. Who knows what a salutation is? Hello, greetings. Hello, Miss Peck, or to whom it may concern if you have no idea who you're writing to, okay? So you address who you're talking to, you have a body of your email, and then your signature. Now, I will say also, I see students do this all the time. They ask a question, and they never include their name.
Teachers, pardon this interruption. Students, we just wanted to let you know that we have representatives from Wendy's here today.
Wendy's is here.
They are set up in Johnston Hall. This will be the Wendy's that is just being constructed by Central Hardin. So if that sounds like a place you would like to grab a nice part-time job, then you are welcome to go have a chat with them right now. They are doing open interviews here today, right now, in Johnston Hall. So teachers, please excuse anyone that would like to go talk to the reps from Wendy's. Thank you.
All right. So I have students all the time that will send us an email and they will ask a question, but they leave out some very important information. They're like, hey, can you tell me about the status of my application? What do you think they're leaving out? Yeah, they don't tell me who the heck they are. I can obviously email them back, but I can't answer their question until I've emailed them back. Or I'm having to look at some weirdo email address that has no name in it, and I'm trying to decipher what this is. Or their email address has their nickname in it, some weird thing like that, and I'm here left to try to decipher. So along with that, I think now is a good time as you're maybe like filling out inquiries, you're asking for information from colleges, is to go ahead and make a college email address. One that you're going to use specifically for your applications, for your information, for scholarships. That way it's coming to one place. You may use your school email every day, but at one point during your senior year, when you graduate, you're not going to have access to it anymore. And if you've used it for all of your college stuff, you may not have made a decision yet, or you may have made a decision and they're still sending you very important information, maybe about move-in days, orientation, and you're not getting that because you don't have your school email address anymore, okay? So create an email address that's professional. Told the last group, not like Dragonslayer777 or whatever you're interested in. Probably just hannahpeck@gmail.com, okay? Something like that, something very easy. So also when you're looking at your email, make sure things are spelled correctly. If you don't have your Google Chrome turned on to like spell check your stuff, I would recommend doing that. I see some really weird things. Also, a lot of schools, and I've talked to a lot of my coworkers too, we may get emails and our school name is completely misspelled, very badly misspelled, So, just look over your emails, make sure you're spelling things correctly, make sure your grammar's in check, and that sort of thing. And then something that I see a lot, which I think is so bizarre, but it happens often, is where you'll see I've written it on there too. The content of your email does not belong in the subject line. What's the subject line for? Yeah. Exactly. It's the subject of your email, the main content of your email. So that's what question is an appropriate subject line. A not appropriate subject line is, hey, I have a question, and my question is, what is going on with my application? And I've gotten emails that are all in the subject. I click on them, nothing in the body. All in the subject. So bizarre. Okay? Don't be that person. I mentioned to the last group, and some people are like, ugh. We do call you on the phone. Oh, I know, it stinks, right? Who wants to talk on the freaking phone? Well, we do sometimes. So usually if we're calling you, it's because we have information. So please answer. Please respond to college representatives. We'll reach out to you via email, phone, and oftentimes in text as well. When we are calling you on the phone, something that I've noticed from a lot of students is they don't have a voicemail set up on their phone, and I think that's problematic. Usually, a college admissions person, they're a professional person, they're going to leave you a voicemail telling you what they called you for. Hey, I've got scholarship info, want to set up a visit, something like that. But a lot of times we can't leave you anything. It's never been set up, it's full, or I've heard some really weird voicemails, greetings, okay? So if you are one of those people that has a really out there voicemail, you might want to change it. Now, some of them are cute. I had a guy one year, he was the PA announcer at his school, and he was the voice of he was from Henry County, and his says, "This is Jacob Beckley, voice of the Henry County Wildcats. Like, please leave your message." That was funny, and I've remembered it all these years later. That was like 7 years ago. But that was cute, but some of them, are a little weird. And also, I don't like when it's like, "Hi," and I'm like, "Oh, hi," and then a couple minutes later, it's like, "I'm not here right now." And somebody over here has that voicemail, don't they? Too many giggles. So have an appropriate voicemail. Have your fun throughout the summer, and then when we start calling you come August, change your voicemail. And then the other thing is, don't assume if you receive a text from a college rep that it's like an automated text sent by a computer, okay? So if you think I'm going to say something weird back, I'm going to say something funny, inappropriate, you may actually be texting us on our real phones. And that's happened to some people in my office. Usually if you get an automated text, it will give you the option to like unsubscribe or stop. When you get like a coupon text and it says, to unsubscribe, hit blah, 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 or send back this. If it doesn't say that, it's very likely a real person. And we've had some people really take some liberties on the response because we text all of our own people. I text people from my phone. It's not happened to me just yet, but one of my coworkers it did, and somebody, I don't know the word for it, but they were very inappropriate in their response back of what they said. And my coworker said, "This is a real person." And then that person was actually interested in our school. They just thought it would be funny to say something back. So they were really basically eating it when they told them, "Hey, this is a real person." They were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. My friend had my phone," or something like that. So make sure you're conscientious about that sort of stuff, and that in all parts of the being recruited process, you're being personal, courteous, that sort of thing. And like at a private school for us, we have a lot of different funds to be able to hand out and distribute to students. And I'm going to be honest with you. If I've been working with a student over the entire course of the year, and that student has been mature, poised, they've been a great communicator with me, I just think they're such an exceptional student. When financial aid season comes and that student is talking to me and maybe they need extra help, I'm probably going to be way more willing to go up to bat for that student. This student's exceptional. This is somebody that we want to make possible at Lindsey Wilson than this kid that every time we've met with each other, they were like, looking like, okay, hello, looking like they were going to fall asleep in my office, okay? So those are some things to keep in mind. Now, we talked about how important I think it is to visit college. That is my number one piece of advice. Visit anytime that you can, a college. But there are some things that you should do. Yes, our colleges, when you're on a visit, we're auditioning for you, basically. But on the reverse, you're kind of auditioning for us. So some things that I want you guys to keep in mind when you do go through a college visit and you're there is to be prepared. What do you think I mean when I say be prepared? What might you need to have prepared before you go visit a college? Yeah. Yeah, any paperwork that you might need. So maybe you want to make sure you have a transcript or your ACT scores, or you've paid your application fee, or something like that. Also, being prepared with questions. What the heck am I going to ask these people? What do you want to know? We already talked about going over your deciding factors of what you are interested in looking for in a college, so perhaps those are some of your questions. Be prepared to ask questions. One of the first things I ask my families when we go on a campus visit is I say, I have things I want to talk about, but before we even dive into that, I want to hear what questions do you hope to get answered today so we can make sure we go over those. And it's very awkward when that question is met with, when my question is then met with crickets, okay? So they're like, ooh, I don't know. Now, I think a seasoned professional, I still have things I can talk about if you don't have a whole list of questions. But it's a good idea to have those questions because it never fails somebody gets in the car and they think, oh, we should have asked that. I want everybody to read the second point. What does it say? 1, 2, 3. Say it out loud. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, try again. Ready? It's the second point under presentation during a college visit. No, this paper. Right here, the second point says, 1, 2, 3. Say it out loud.
Be ready to talk about you.
Yes, exactly. So, that's one's pretty self-explanatory. Who is going to college, right? You. Yeah. So you need to be prepared to talk about yourself. That is who we want to know about. So on a college visit, I ask people, so tell me more about yourself. And that question really stumps a lot of students. If I sit down and I just say, tell me a little bit about yourself, they're like, what do you want to know? Just about you. Like, what makes you tick? You're a prospective college student. What are you involved in? What are you thinking about majoring in? What are some things that are important to you? I'd want to know about you. And I don't ask that question just because I'm nosy. I mean, I am nosy, but I don't ask it for that reason alone. I want to know maybe things that you're interested in. There may be something at our school that you don't know about, but I think you'd be a good fit for after our conversation, and I can tell you about that. Or, hey, something you said made me realize you would be a good applicant for this scholarship. So I'm going to get you that information. I don't know that until we have a conversation because you may have not put it on your application or you just didn't know about it before. So that conversation really helps us to help you. That's why we have that. So be prepared to talk about yourself, okay, on the visit. Obviously, you want to be kind and polite. Like I said, not napping, not using the chair as a recliner in my office. I have seen people like get very comfortable. I did have a girl, she did punch her mom one time too. I wouldn't recommend that. I've seen some wacko things. She did punch her mom under the desk. She thought I couldn't see her. So if mom is getting on your nerves, I could still see you hitting your mom. So probably don't like punch her under the desk. I can still see you. Be kind to your parents in the visit too. It can be tense sometimes. We're talking about finances. Everybody, mom, dad, y'all need to be kind to each other because that puts me in a very awkward position when you all are not being kind and I'm in this family turmoil and we're sitting in my office, okay? So be kind to your parents while you're there. And then the final one, this is important. You are the one going to college, so speak up, okay? Talk for yourself. We love it when your parents come on a visit, but your parents don't have to. So if you come by yourself, be prepared with these things. But also if mom or dad comes with you or grandma or whatever your family situation is, you be prepared to do the talking, okay? And maybe even talk to your parents. If you're before, if you have a parent that likes to talk a lot for you, maybe say, hey, now, they're going to be asking me, I've heard they're going to ask me a lot of questions, so I want to make sure that I'm able to answer them, okay? Something like that. And also, if you are a student who, when you are asked a question, you often look really quick at your mom, like, answer for me? No, not in this environment. You need to answer for yourself, okay? Because, again, we are talking to you. And also, I've found a lot of times what mom or dad or whoever may tell me about the student, when I'm talking to the student one-on-one, it's not exactly like what mom told me. What mom told me the student wants to major in, they talk about it all the time. When I talk to the student alone, they're like, actually, I hate that, and I don't want to do that. But they said that they want me to do it. So let's have those conversations. That's also why we try to call and text you, so that you can talk to us sort of without an audience too, okay? Does anybody have questions about any of that sort of thing? Okay? Anybody? Questions? All right, let's see. I've got a couple more prizes here. So maybe I'll ask you a question. I got to think of one. Oh, Christy, this is for you before I forget. Here's a mouse pad. And I'll forget it if I don't know if you use a mouse, but there you go. Okay, I'm going to do, let's see here. I'll do 3 more. You want sunglasses or a cup? I guess you can just choose, okay? So we'll do 3 more. Let me ask y'all a question here. Let me think for something. Don't look at your papers. All right. Okay. I need to hear of, you have to tell me 4 soft skills. Who wants to go? Just 4. Come on, we said them out loud. You already have a prize. Somebody else. Yep.
Work ethic, leadership, teamwork, and listening.
Yep, come on up. Come on down. Woo, y'all ever watch The Price is Right? Yeah. Okay.
They don't know what the Wednesdays are.
The Price is Right is still on. Okay, that was 1. Let's do another one. Okay, what do I think is the most important thing that you need to be ready for on a college visit?
Talk about yourself.
Yes. And you know what? Woo, come on down. Woohoo. Also, that should be an answer you know. It's not a trick question. When somebody asks you to talk about yourself, or I don't mean that question that I asked, but like when you're on the visit and they're asking you to talk about yourself, I have a lot, like I said, the deer in headlights look. I don't understand because you know you. I'm asking you about you. It's not a trick question. So just tell me about you. Okay. Last one. Let me see here. I got to jog my brain. Oh, now this one would be a toughie if somebody gets this. How many public colleges are in the state of Kentucky?
8.
Yeah, come on. Woohoo. All right, thanks for playing. All right, guys, thank you guys so much. If you have questions, my contact information is on the bottom of this sheet right here. Also, if you have questions about Lindsey or if you ever come visit, you guys will come and visit in the spring, so I look forward to seeing you then. I didn't give you all cards because I figured you'd lose them and then I'd find them in the hall and then my feelings would be hurt, so I just put it on here, okay? All right, very nice to meet you guys, and I can't wait to see you again soon.